Welcome to your Tru Awakening, the podcast where we dive deep into what it means to live your purpose and create a life that feels true to who you are. I'm your host, Sandra Tru, here to guide you on a journey of soulful exploration and inner mastery. Together, we're here to unravel the layers, challenge the status quo, and unlock wisdom that helps us shine from the inside out. So each week we'll have powerful conversations with some of the most inspiring leaders and mentors and artists, lighting the way for a more conscious, abundant, joyful life. From ancient wisdom to modern practices, we'll explore transformative tools and inspiring stories to help you live, love, and lead authentically. Whether you're just at a turning point in your life or stepping into your power or simply seeking more depth and meaning in your everyday moments, this is your invitation to step out of the ordinary and break free from old patterns and awaken your true potential. So if you're ready to laugh, reflect, and expand, you're in the right place. So let's get started. Today, I'm so honored to be with my dear sister, Soraya. We've known each other for many years. We actually went to junior high together and have been on this journey of being able to be in each other's lives because we keep weaving in these realms of greater authenticity, greater connection to divinity, and greater truth. And so when you see Soraya, she is this grand creatrix. She's really a chameleon. She's an artist. She's an actress. She's a model. She's a camera host, a professional trained dancer. She spent so many years behind the cameras and also as a caretaker, right? One of the things that I love so much about her is this depth for taking care of her parents. And now for the first time, she is living on her own terms. And for this moment, it's so sacred. We've been having these deep conversations of truly uncovering who she is becoming beyond survival, beyond at being needing validation from the outside, stepping into her own truth. And it's so beautiful to have this conversation with Soraya because when Soraya walks into a room, she is a vibrant energy that shifts frequencies. She is a change maker. I really believe she's this magician, right? Because that's my kind of friend. So it's really hard to define in a small introduction all that she is, all that she radiates, and the amount of beauty that you feel when you dive deep into with this beautiful woman that I'm so happy to call my dear friend Soraya. I'm so happy to have you here, sister.
Thank you so much, Sandra. What a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. It is actually an honor as well.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for you, your truth, your energy, and I'm just so grateful with the universe and life in itself for allowing us to keep weaving and weaving. It's like no matter what countries and cities we're in, somehow we just again in our groups, friend groups, soul families just connect more and more and get closer. And yeah, what a beautiful time to be alive and experience life together. So thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for having me as well.
Pleasure, sister. The conversation I really wanted to have with you is moving from being objectified to being sanctified. There is um, a misconception that our beauty is just for the external. I really want women to understand that there is no shame in expressing yourself and in being in your full authenticity and being in the greatest beauty that you want to show and express for yourself. So when we move from being in our beauty as a performance to being in beauty because that's what is moving through us, and for so many of us, we've dealt with, especially being in front of the camera, being, we both come from doing nightlife at some points in our lives and modeling and all of that. And so being objectified for our beauty has been an issue. And also being on the other side of that and feeling like, wow, I am moving to a greater truth in my life that is no longer tied to what other people see. And also, many people are dimming themselves down from fear of being objectified, right? I know that fear of being too much. So I just want to start this conversation with you. In your life, what has been some of the hardest things that has identified you with your beauty, and perhaps that your value was your beauty?
I think at a very early time when I started modeling, in the beginning, you're excited. it's your job title. And oh, you're a model. But then I realized at a certain point, I think it was in like maybe 5 years in or so, and I'm full throttle, it's full time. Uh, you're being judged, or the environment I'm in, I'm surrounded by different types of people, different walks of life, upper echelon, socialites, financial people in the finance world in New York City, attorneys, and presenting as what you do, you get this, you're judged. So I started creating conversations with people before saying what I did, because I realized that by starting with model, on camera host, actress, performer, artist is what they see, and there's no depth in that. Or so that's what it comes off as. In society, it's not as respected because you didn't go to school for it, and it's about vanity and aesthetic, and it might have its perks, but it's a double-edged sword, because if you're a judge, you don't have a chance to show yourself, your personality, and people won't take you as serious, or people didn't take me serious at that point. So once I noticed that, I knew that I could carry a conversation. I have a background in communications. I have no problem with that. So, and I really value connecting with people and learning their story. And I love asking questions in general. That's my natural being. So I use that as my gateway to create relationships. And once the conversation went full throttle and they're always expressing things that they've never shared with anyone in their past, because now they're comfortable with me, they're creating some form of trust, they're not guarded, they feel open to share, then they're like, oh, I didn't even ask you what you do. And so once I tell them, it's either on camera host, it's like, oh, that makes sense, I'm asking questions, I'm intrigued, I'm listening to the conversation. Model, the looks, but it landed different because we had a moment. And for me, that's one of the things I've always valued in life is connection. It doesn't matter what you do in life. I love just being able to drop in and connect with anyone. I'll talk to anyone. Doesn't matter what they do. So yeah, I learned at an early time that you're just going to get judged, whether because I'm Latina with curly hair. I already dealt with that and I had moved on from that. Now I'm in a world where I'm pretty much one of the few Latin women, Hispanic women in the room. And now it's okay, aside from being Hispanic, I'm a model. So I have more to prove in a sense.
Oh. And about
So I realized that it was very important to be a well-rounded woman and to choose to move forward, not with the title of model. However, I will say that once pandemic happened, I was in a very complex vortex of identity loss.
I think it's in those moments when we go through loss of identification that we have the greatest potential for designing our lives, for creating ourselves consciously. And it often feels like when our worth is no longer tied to whatever it is that we've been giving value for, whether that is a relationship or a job or education or whatever it is, kind of leaves. It's like this complete wound of now you have the space to create yourself anew. So 2020 came around and I guess you weren't working anymore
I finished. I was on a TV show. It's airing. It's on the New York City cabs. It's doing replays at a certain time, a window of time at night. The show's just popping off. And my reality is I chose to continue caretaking for my mother, but I chose to do it in Colombia. And in choosing to stay there, I disconnected from my identity. And also the world stood still. There was a lot of confusion, a lot was happening. So a lot of people were lost. But my whole identity online was based on posting my bookings, my campaigns, my shoots, my interviews. But when I didn't have that, who was Soraya? Yes, I was a caretaker, but I felt like I lost such a big chunk of myself. And then I realized, oh my God, I've been living my whole life with my title. So now that I don't have the title, I don't know what to walk into a room and say. Even if I do have the conversation, they will always ask, oh, well, what do you do? And that happened once I started coming back to the US and like was back in the real world again. And I didn't know, I felt like a newborn horse, like just trying to step and walk and fumbling. And I would drop and I couldn't find myself. And I have this amazing soul brother, Aubrey Marcus, who I adore, because I had this conversation with him and I said, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm around podcasters, New York Times bestsellers, different people, different walks of life again. And I feel less than. I don't know what to say, because not only did I feel like model was not it anymore, but I was trying to find myself again.
When we lose ourselves is often felt as failure, as something went wrong, change of our relationship. I recently went through a change of our relationship, and it feels like a little death when you lose an identity.
Because
When
that
you lose an identity that gives you some sort of safety, whether it is a title or a job or a partnership, you go in through this death portal because you've been getting this attention from the external, you've been getting this celebration. And when it comes to beauty and being seen as this object, right, even it's like you might keep a job because of your personality and because of who you are. And the truth is that, I know as an actor, I was doing the deepest work as a theater actor, and then I would go out for the jobs that I could actually pay well, and it was just like the sexy ex-girlfriend and the hot Latina, and it was just like this objectifying roles that you agree with because that's what you're praised for, that's what you're paid for. And so it becomes like this identity. We were speaking about not long ago about how it's sometimes in partnerships, like the desire of being received as who you are for more than just how good I look on your arm, right? How good I make you look, but can you actually hold the energy, of the depth of a woman that might be way more than what you're seeing?
Yes. When we spoke about that, I remembered in previous relationships, I can tell when I'm valued because of how their ego is stroked according to how society is looking at them, because I'm beside their arm. And
Hmm.
that many times I could get away with things because the value I had for the relationship in society was worth it. So they were willing to sit down and have hard conversations. And in previous relationships, they wouldn't bother. They wouldn't do that because the woman didn't have the leverage. In me having the leverage, I can have these deep conversations. And it also showed them, like, there is more and there's layers to this situation. If you want the person that's walking by you that makes you look good, honey, that's not what this is. We're not going to
Yeah.
evolve together. We're not going to have a deep connection. It can't be surface layer. And I'm in a point in my life, and I feel like every relationship I've had has just gotten deeper and deeper in, forget about the outside as much, or like financials and certain things. Like, yes, they are important, but if we don't have connection,
What's the
I just can't. Like, I can't be beside you. I can't just hee hee ha ha and have food and look good together. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter, because what matters is behind closed doors, when I'm folded over and I'm hurting and in pain, and can you hold me? Can you hold the space? Can you support me? Can you be present? Because if not, I actually can't even have attraction. Like, I don't have attraction. I can't have, if we can't have a deep conversation, I'm not into. That's just what
Yeah.
it is.
And I
Um,
think to break down what a deep conversation is, perhaps in our language, is a conversation where we're taking the masks off and we're being honest. Like that's a deep conversation with me, not like what I have and how I've, like this is what I show and this is what I do and oh, I'm so great. But it's just like this is me when I'm hurting, and this is me in my greatness. This is me in like the fullness of me thriving and expressing. This is me in my greatest joy. I know for both of us, sometimes it might be intimidating for people how much fun we like to have and how vibrant and how big our energy is. And we walk into a room and it's just like, but it goes from, but it's not a performance. It's really who we are. And, we're both Colombian. We love music. We
we're
love
both
dance.
passionate. We have
We're
fire.
passionate. We have passion. So it might feel sometimes that our energy is too much. And
Yes.
gosh, this was something that we touched on too, that sometimes when you have a big energy and you're essentially in a world where your beauty gets celebrated, or you get safety, security from the outside world because of how beautiful you are, but then it's like, can you please just, dim
Dim.
it down?
Keep it lower. Turn it
Put it
down.
here, so that you don't make me feel like
Less
less. And so how many
outshining.
times, yeah, don't outshine me.
Yes.
And so how many times have women had to actually tone down their sensuality, their sexuality, their bigness,
So
their
much.
power, their leadership, because it's like, put yourself down. Like, and I was telling you, I was sharing with you privately how in a previous relationship, I knew that I was like, oh, this is not my house. I had someone I had been with for almost a decade, and in the moment, and that was like the one thing that I heard that was just like, this is not my home. This is not my home. Enough.
Mm,
Can you just tone yourself down a little bit?
that feeling where you question yourself, because for many years of my life, honestly, it's so wild, because until I did a TV show where it was 26 models, we had briefcases, and you were the same number on each episode, and I was given number one. And number one caused so much chaos within the group of girls, which I didn't choose the number. They chose it. They gave it to me, right? But a part of the reason it was given to me was my vulnerability and rawness at my audition. I didn't know this. I found this out later. In me being myself, and me being my light, and me being bright, and just giving it my all at the casting, it landed me that. And though I was grateful, I also realized that my light can be a threat for people that are not willing to step into theirs. And one of the most threatened women on the show created the most chaos surrounding me and all these things. But it was in that moment while I was crying in my hotel room. I never had problems like this. I was a cheerleader, I was a jock, I was a class clown, so being liked and loved has always been there. So when there's chaos and conflict, it doesn't really sit well, because I'm just being myself. And then I step back, because it wasn't about me. I was just bringing it out of her, but it brought to my attention how my light cannot be received by those that do not choose to show their light as well. And they feel it could be a threat. And then in turn, I felt too much. And even in friendship, it's like, oh, you're so X, you're so Y. And once I finally got into my like solid group of friends, like my soul family, like someone like you and my friends in Miami, or our soul family in Miami, and other people in Austin, it was celebrated. It's like, yes, be you, expand, bright, be a bright light, shine brighter. And I was like, wait, what? Like, you guys are okay with me being me? This is, it was part of me was like, wow, okay, it's okay to be normal. And then it was also like, is it safe? Can I are you going to be able to handle it? Because it could be a lot.
Yeah.
And even then it was held, it was supported. And even then it was empowered. It was magnified. It's like, no, we want you to be your fullest self. And also, just, you touched on something earlier that I find very important. Being sexy for me, I literally tapped into being like really stepping into that and being okay with it and holding it and feeling empowered by it, just like I would say 3 years ago.
Yeah, but one of the things that you're saying is so important, because how many times have we been punished or treated as less than because we allowed ourselves to be in our full expression? And also, how many times we've been cast out in a way because we were just like in our artistry, in our creation, and it made other people that perhaps they never expressed that feel triggered. And at the same time, it's what we needed, because it was the testing ground for us to say, do I continue to expand, or do I contract? And I could say I definitely contracted many times.
Same.
I contracted many times. And also, like, I recently had this experience with a dear sister of mine. I never saw this coming. I celebrate her. Like, I see her and I'm just like, that's my girl. And she had a moment of like, confusion with me. Luckily, we have been friends for years, and she came and she shared with me that she was feeling this type of way, and we were able to work it out. But it's just like, even for women, or for other people, when you're just like in your full, godgasming of life, it's like it could be triggering. And then and that's, you know what, you're not here to be liked, you're not here to be digested easily, you're here to be the fullness of you, because it activates people when you're in your fullness of you, because of you, without trying to be a performance, or without doing it because you're like me, but just because you can't take it, you can't hold that in anymore.
Yes, I agree.
It's an activation.
I actually had something like that unfold with a very good best friend of mine, that we were just establishing or reestablishing our friendship. And it was beautiful because she told me, I need to talk to you. I'm feeling very triggered. And, but you haven't, this was a beautiful part. You haven't done anything but be yourself. And the beautiful thing is she knew my intentions always. And she saw me for who I was and saw that in herself there was an insecurity caused by a wound that she had, and I triggered it, but I didn't do anything. And instead she said, thank you for being able to create the space where I can come and talk to you as a sister, and I can
That's
move through this, and it creates awareness. And I was like, honestly, at first when she said talk to you and I'm comfortable, I went inward. I contracted and I wanted to get small and I wanted to disappear. I'm a Libra. I don't like conflict. I don't like issues. I don't like chaos. And I don't want to make anyone feel any sort of way. And I'm very considerate about other people's feelings, which can then lead to people pleasing and
mm,
and making myself small just to make sure everyone is good. But that's not what life is about. Life is about being your truest, biggest, most authentic, genuine, rawest, passionate, fire-filled self. And she knew that at the core of my being, I wasn't doing anything but being me. And that the issue was something that I helped spark in her so she can work on it. And it was one of the most beautiful, mature, emotionally intelligent, and like I was very blown away because she's like, you're allowing me to work through this. And I'm so grateful I get to do this with you. Because she knew
yeah.
I was loving, and she knew all the things. She knew it was just a her thing.
Yeah.
And I think those types of conversations are really important to be had. I think it takes,
So needed.
yeah, it takes a certain type of person to actually look within. Because if someone's affecting you, if someone's triggering you, we are a reflection of one another. There's something that the person is doing that is within us. And that's why it's landing and it's bothering us. That's why it's aching and you're feeling, and aggy.
Yeah. And also like the importance of being safe within yourself, of understanding your intentions, like really learning about how you walk in the world, because you are using your expression, your beauty, your isnness, your expansion as a way of understanding that you are a temple. You are a temple, and what you're doing is that you're beautifying your life, you're beautifying wherever you go, and you're beautifying with the clarity of your good intentions, like for the good of all, that
Yeah.
you're here to give, like that. I feel that from you. I feel good intentions from you. The beauty of also having friends that know us, that we're safe. I'm a safe woman. I'm not here to like get in between you or anyone else. And when you walk this path for a long time and people get to be close to you, they might get triggered. But if they feel safe coming to you and working things out with you, I take that as such a privilege, because it is so necessary. Like things like envy, it's if we can speak it out, it can be one of the most healthiest things, because when we can speak it out and say, wow, I feel jealousy or I feel envy, it might be reflecting to you something that is waiting to unravel, something that you might want to nurture, water, develop. So
Heal, approach.
heal, approach. So pay attention to those things that are giving you jealousy, and don't try to bury it or hide it, because it might just come out in unconscious behavior. What
Mm-hmm.
you could do is really develop those things and celebrate that bigness that you see in the world. Celebrate whatever it's making you feel that jealousy. One of my mentors speaks about it as like it's a signal to what you might have not developed, that it's
Mm.
called. So pay attention to that. What we wanted to speak about also is that how we go from being objectified, and even though for many women, even when we're little girls, it's like, you're so beautiful, and oh my God, you're so pretty, and everything, we get attention from being beautiful, right? And then if you go into the arts, or modeling or whatever, it's like that's your job.
It enables it. It condones it still.
I
Yeah.
don't. I think for me, it was actually something that got in the way of my coaching, because it's like, oh, it's like, no, now I'm coach, and now I got to hide myself, and now let me not, put make. I really struggled with this, and
Mm.
coming on the other side of just like, you know what, I'm here to model life and fullness, and I'm gonna work with the people that are truly aligning to being it's like a temple carrier, and understanding the sacredness of being in our fullness, because it is what the world needs. It doesn't need shrinking, it needs fullness. and it's light. You want to think about like yourself as a portal of light, that you want to just be as big as possible because it's healthy.
Mhm.
It's
I think
healthy.
it's interesting because you touched on something earlier about being the performer, the artist, and I decided to go into the darkness. It was a year after my mom had passed, and I was still in limbo with an identity crisis. And I wanted to sit with myself because I think it's something that the average human can actually really use. It's a
Oh, when you say darkness, you're speaking about your darkness retreat.
Yeah, so I went into a cave or a home that's built in the ground, and I have access to food every day. And I chose 6 days. A little bit of an ego situation. My friends had done 4 and 5, and I said I'm going to do 6. And they're very profound and wise humans, and I'm like, I'm going to do 6. And the man in the retreat was like, "How women? You could usually start with 3 or 4." I said I'm going to do 6. I'm going to push it. I'm going to be a badass. Ego, but I'll admit it was ego. It was unnecessary. But in the darkness, there was a moment that the person who runs the darkness retreat, you have the ability to have him drop what I call sweet somethings. Like he'll say something to you, and then you just sit there in the darkness with that thought, and he leaves. And they're not sweet nothings, they're sweet somethings. They have value, they're gems, they're mic drops. So one day he asked me, who is Soraya at the core? Because I thought to myself, am I being people pleasing? Am I always just looking for the acknowledgement of humans through performance and art? Because that's what I've done since age 3. I'm a professionally trained dancer since 3. It's like all of this is what we do from the beginning. So people clap. Oh, you were wonderful. It was beautiful, you know. So it continues on in modeling and acting on camera hosting. And I sat there in the darkness, and I was thinking about the last couple of days. It was like day 4. I said, I still make jokes in the dark. I'm still being a smartass in the dark. I talk to myself. I'm being funny and witty. I'm like this, even when no one's watching. Mm. That was such an important moment for me in my life. I was like, I don't need a stage. I don't need a TV. I don't need people. I am me, even when no one is looking. I am an artist. I am a performer, and that's okay. No matter what title is placed, it doesn't matter. Forget acting on camera, hosting art. It doesn't matter. I am an artist. I create. I'm a creatrix. So it was a very good moment to be had and understand that my magic and my itness is my essence is the most important thing that I can carry in this world, because after years in life and wrinkles and age, who and what stands in this life? Your essence. Nobody will care what you look like in 20 years. They're going to care about Soraya, Sandra, the soul. Another reason why you and I have our paths have weaved together so beautifully is because we're both very big, bold personalities filled with passion and love. And we love being cheerleaders for our friends and our soul family. It lights us up, but we're being genuine. And it's difficult to be understood as anything besides this meat costume, right? In a world where it could be 3D. But when you find your people, or when you decide to walk the path of truth and hold your essence and itness and bright light with pride, it gets received and understood as such. Those that don't understand, that's not your journey or path. And those people I have had in my life that you're too much, I thank you. Thank you for making me realize that I'm too much in your world, and I can separate myself and hold yourself in a respectful, beautiful relationship and distance, because I don't need you to validate my itness. I don't need you to approve who I am and my energy and my light. I will continue being this sazon, or as my nickname, Sriracha. They call me, like in these streets, they call me Sriracha for a reason. I'm spicy, baby. Everybody likes me though. You know what I mean? You put it on the French fries on your burger, people be like, "Oh, it's hot," and they keep adding some more.
Sriracha.
I'm Sriracha. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love
yo soy picante. I'm
it.
fire, and so are
Yeah.
you. And I understand you, and I root for you, and I love when you do your things, and I love when you go online and you go into your verbal fucking wise deep tantrums of beautiful knowledge, and I'm just like, yes, you fucking super intelligent woman who's so profound and wise. I root for that. And that's why we magnetize one another and the people that are around us. I'm so grateful for the community that we have, that you have in Miami full time, that I get to dip in from time to time. And when I'm around you guys, I'm like, this is life,
Yeah.
empowering one another. Forget how beautiful you are. Yes, you're dripping, your gear is, you got the riz, baby. You got style, you got swag. Yes.
I
Aside
love
from
it.
that, show me your heart. Show me your soul. Show me your itness. Are you
Show me
afraid to
show
show?
me who you are beyond what I can see. You know, I say that I speak four languages. I speak English, Portuguese, Spanish, and energy. And like that's the thing that I am more interested in cultivating. I'm interested in cultivating energy because I actually see this is might be out there, but I actually believe that if everything is energy, then perhaps this body is the densest form of my soul, or a densest of the densest part of my soul. So to treat my body as just a thing that carries me, or a vehicle, it's not enough, right? So what I've learned to do is to honor this body, like nurture this body, take care of this temple, celebrate the fact that I can get strong and I can be beautiful and I can be in my sensuality and I can be in my sexuality, and that that's like the rawness of being a woman in this delicious body that sometimes and at many times it's been weaponized and shut down and rejected, but now I can do it for myself, that I can get to love being in full aliveness and being in the light of being alive just because. And what happens when we do that for ourselves, that we understand that we are the temple, like priestess life work, which is no longer about look at me, it is feel me, right? Like feel me, so you can feel yourself, and feeling truth around me, you can feel the truth around you. And like see if we can get there, see if we can get to a place where we can take masks off and meet each other beyond gender, beyond age, beyond what role we're playing here. And at the same time, let's celebrate that we have these amazing youthful bodies, where whatever age you're at, that they're capable, they can run, they can feel, they can sense, they can fuck, they can do all the things. It's like they're amazing. Why
Praise.
not decorate them and make them, and and like treat them and make them strong, and like be in our best in these bodies. Like the way that you treat your body is an investment. Like invest in being agile when you're old. Like like
I
that's the way
agree.
I feel.
I
Treat your
agree.
body as a temple for you, not for anyone else, but for you. You get to live there. Like
Yes,
make your home beautiful for you.
I agree. There's something else that I feel is very important to touch on. We live in a day and age where you can fix, clean, edit, filter your image and how you come off to the world. It came to a point when I was sharing my story as caretaker with my mom. I know my potential. I know how I can get done up and glamify, but that's not the reality of my world. And when people were watching the TV show and they started following me on Instagram, they're like, "Wow, you look like a girl that has it all. You look like you have a normal life, like you're lucky, like it's been great." No, it hasn't been great. I have fought tooth, nail, and feet barefoot, and tears, and anger, rage, and I've been through the trenches and trials and tribulations to get to where I am, because I'm human. I'm human. The meat skin is a costume. I'm still human at the end of the day. And it was beautiful to me when I had conversations with strangers. They're like, I didn't even think you'd respond. And it's like we put people on a pedestal way too much for different reasons, right? And we lose sight of the fact that at the end of the day, we're born the same, we could die the same, and we carry, for the most part, the same things: hearts, veins, blood that pumps through our life. We nourish ourselves with nutritional food. You know, we talk, we live, we love, we hurt, we experience joy, pleasure, but we're all human. And at the end of the day, what is the most beautiful thing to me is the rawness of a human. Because again, this is costume. This this is just accessory.
I love me some costumes and
No,
accessories.
and I do too, except for the part where a lot of people in society have depended on the filters
Mm-hmm.
because they want to make sure they're coming off a certain way in society so that they can be accepted. And at
Mm.
this point, there are men who are actually so turned off by the various fine-tuning things that women are doing to present themselves both physically or online. And they're just
Yeah.
like, I just want somebody who's natural. I don't even want them to wear makeup. I just
Yeah.
want them to be, because
Mhm.
the beauty of a woman is to be herself.
Oh,
Comparing yourself is just the enemy. It is what strengthens an insecurity.
mhm.
Comparison does nothing to the soul. I have a saying that I said to someone in my previous relationship. They had a very sharp tongue when they would talk to me. They were very direct, and it worked for them in their life, but that's not how I move. I said, if it doesn't come from love, if it doesn't empower me, if it doesn't enlighten me, if it doesn't strengthen me, if it doesn't come with care, like an awareness and intention, I don't want to hear it. I don't need it to be negative. I don't need cutthroat. I don't need strong. I need it to be love. We need to approach each other with more love, with more intention, with more awareness. Cat calling a girl, you know how it was when you lived in New York City. Hey, shorty, or names. And then if you don't respond, you're getting dissed, you know?
yeah.
Very interesting contrasting of a situation. You want to talk to me, I don't give you attention, and now you're going to offend me.
Mhm. Yeah, the most beautiful thing I learned in circumstances like that in New York was just that I would just walk straight, like, hey, hi, right, and learn to look at people in the face. And I have that. Like, I'm not here hiding. I'm not here running. I'm here in my stance. I'm not afraid. And I think that's an energy. That's a beautiful thing about growing in New York City. It's that so you could learn a lot about your own way of stepping in the world. And sometimes, right, like that goes to the extreme of like, oh, not learning, not knowing how to be in the feminine. And that's another good conversation that we could have at another moment. What my intention was to have this conversation with you was to really invite women to feel the sacredness of themselves. When you speak about, there's so much that we want to put on, take on, adjust, put butt, boobs, the whole thing. Like, it's okay. Like, if you're going to do it, fine, knock yourself out, do the whole thing. But at least invest in knowing who you are, and invest in knowing who you will be when all of that is gone. Invest in getting very honest with what is it that you feel, what is it that you want, with what is it that you want to express, with what you stand for in the world, because that's your true beauty. That's when you start to awaken to who you are and who you are becoming in truth, not for others, but for yourself. That really is my intention, that for you to feel that you are a sacred being and to walk like it, because that is the thing that we need in the world. We need people to understand their worth, so that they're not desperate looking for it outside of themselves. Soraya, I have a question for you. If you were to speak to your younger self on this topic, what would you say to her?
Be as bright as you want to be. Be the bright light that you are. And don't go about life worrying about pleasing others and concerned for their emotions as far as how bright you are and how special you are. Be special, live special, breathe special, be it. It's okay. Be you. It's okay. It's going to be fine.
I love it. So I want to invite everybody to stay in touch with us. I am putting together a really cool retreat in June. If you want more information on that, I'll be happy to share more with you. This is going to be a awakening her retreat. This is a moment where we're going to step out of wanting to perform and really get gentle with ourselves, with our potential, with what's there. This is for the woman who might be over functioning in some sort of way, or feeling like she has to do it all alone, and coming to a place of sisterhood where we can heal by witnessing each other's beauty and celebrating each other's potential. And then if you want to know about my women's mastermind that's reopening up, I'm super excited to share about that. And the group was incredible. Last time, I know you call yourself a creatrix. You are, sister. My women's group was called Conscious Creatrix, and now I have it as the sacred feminine, right? The awakening of the sacred feminine. So, if you want to join more and see what it's like to work with a group of women in a coaching setting where we're doing priestess work and really understanding how to love ourselves at a deep level and to embody full potential, mission, purpose, this is for you too. Soraya, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram or on YouTube, Soraya Yd, as I'm stepping away from modeling full time and really getting into the art of acting. It's a really transitional time for me, transformative. It's beautiful, and I'm excited to share it with all of you. So just my full name, any platform, you'll see all the things. And I hope you guys
Oh, it is so, so fun to watch you in your rawness and in your realness and your like lit up self as you share. It's amazing. Definitely in touch with Soraya and stay in touch with me. I would love to just get to know you. If this was interesting for you, if you got something out of this, please share a comment, like, share, subscribe, and we would love to have you here for our next episode in your Tru Awakening. Thank
thank
you,
you
everybody.
for having me. Love you, sister.